Cameron Hayes stood beneath the towering arches of the Zephyrian royal palace, his fingers tightening around the slim diplomatic slate he carried. The crystalline walls around him glowed with slow, shifting waves of blue and violet light, alive with bioluminescent patterns that seemed to watch his every step. Hundreds of alien dignitaries filled the vast chamber, their unfamiliar forms arranged in perfect ceremonial order. Cameron felt painfully small among them, not just in size, but in significance. He was the youngest human ever chosen to represent Earth in a formal alien court, and the future of humanity's first interstellar alliance balanced on his composure. The palace guards were impossible to ignore. Towering Zephyrians with iridescent exoskeletons and multiple jointed limbs stood like living statues along the corridor. Their compound eyes tracked Cameron with unsettling precision, analyzing each movement. He reminded himself to breathe. 6 months of preparation echoed through his mind, 73 approved greetings, exact bow depths, the number of heartbeats required before speaking to royalty. Any mistake could be interpreted as an insult. At the far end of the hall sat Queen Zorona, her throne appearing grown rather than built, a seamless extension of the palace itself. Her elongated form was wrapped in robes that shimmered like liquid color, shifting with every subtle movement. Though vaguely humanoid, her features carried an alien elegance that made Cameron hesitate. Her eyes, luminous and vast, seemed to hold entire star systems within them. He stepped forward and bowed, lowering himself precisely as instructed and holding the position for 7 heartbeats. The silence that followed was absolute. Hundreds of Zephyrian nobles watched, unreadable, as history waited to be written. Ambassador Cameron Hayes of Earth, the Queen's voice resonated, translated smoothly through the neural implant behind his ear. You seek unity between our peoples. Cameron straightened, forcing steadiness into his voice. Your Majesty, Earth extends its hand in friendship. He never finished. A sudden blur of motion exploded from behind the throne. Gasps rippled through the chamber as a small figure sprinted forward with astonishing speed. The guards moved too late. Cameron barely had time to react before something collided with him, nearly knocking him off balance. Small arms wrapped tightly around his waist in a fierce, unmistakable embrace. The palace froze, time itself seemed to halt inside the throne room. Cameron felt it instantly, the unnatural stillness pressing against his skin. Every Zephyrian present had gone motionless, as if turned to living statues. Guards stood frozen mid-motion, weapons suspended half-raised. Courtiers stared, mouths partially open, eyes wide with disbelief. Even Queen Zorona sat unmoving, her pupils dilated in pure shock. Cameron looked down slowly, terrified to move. The small figure clinging to him was a child, no more than 7 or 8 by human standards. Her skin glowed faintly with the same luminescence as the Queen's, her eyes deep and brilliant like distant galaxies. She squeezed him tighter, burying her face against his formal jacket, completely unaware of the diplomatic disaster she had just caused. Luna. The Queen's voice shattered the silence, sharp with alarm. She rose from her throne in one fluid motion. Release the ambassador immediately. But the child only tightened her grip. No, Luna said firmly. I know him. I know him, Mother. Whispers stirred through the court like wind through alien trees. Cameron's mind raced. He searched every briefing he had memorized, every cultural protocol he had studied. None of them mentioned royal children attacking foreign ambassadors. Queen Zorona approached cautiously, her movements controlled but tense. You have never met this human before, she said gently, kneeling beside her daughter. Luna finally pulled back just enough to look up at Cameron, one small hand still holding his. Her eyes shone with joyful tears. I have met him, she insisted. In my dreams. Every night. He tells me about Earth. About blue oceans and green forests. About rain. He shows me pictures of animals called dogs. Cameron's breath caught. A chill ran down his spine. Your Majesty, he said slowly, voice barely steady, I've been having dreams too. The silence returned, but it was different now. Expectant. Charged. For 3 months, Cameron continued, I've dreamed of a young girl who asks me questions about Earth. I thought it was stress. My imagination. He swallowed hard and looked at Luna. She looks exactly like you. Queen Zerona's expression shifted, or replacing shock. She placed a trembling hand on her daughter's shoulder. The resonance, she whispered. The ancient bond. The queen straightened slowly, her composure returning in fragments as understanding settled over her. The throne room remained silent, every Zephyrian aware that something sacred was unfolding. The resonance, Queen Zerona repeated, her voice hushed with reverence. An ancient psychic connection between two souls, separated by distance, bound by purpose. It has not occurred in 10,000 years. Cameron stared at her, the weight of the moment sinking in. What does it mean? He asked quietly, forgetting protocol entirely. The queen met his gaze, and for the first time, Cameron saw emotion fully exposed on her alien features. Hope. Fear. Wonder. It means my daughter has formed a bond beyond choice or intention. A connection that forms only when great change approaches. Luna tugged gently at Cameron's hand, smiling up at him. Can we really be friends? She asked. Real friends? Cameron looked around the hall. The nobles no longer seemed hostile or suspicious. They watched with reverence, as if witnessing prophecy rather than diplomacy. The guards had lowered their weapons completely. Queen Zerona smiled then, truly smiled, a warmth that transcended species. She has chosen you, she said softly. Not as an ambassador. Not as a representative. But as a bridge. Cameron knelt to Luna's level, his nerves dissolving into something simpler and far more powerful. I'd be honored, he said. More than you know. Luna wrapped her arms around his neck again, laughing softly. This time, the palace did not freeze. It erupted. The crystalline walls flared with golden light, responding to the emotional surge of the gathered Zephyrians. Voices rose in awe and celebration. Cameron stood slowly, Luna's hand still in his, facing Queen Zerona as the future shifted beneath their feet. This alliance, the queen declared, her voice carrying through the hall, is sealed. Cameron realized then that no treaty he carried, no carefully prepared speech, could have accomplished what had just happened. Humanity's greatest diplomatic victory had not come from strategy or power, but from connection. From empathy. From a child's certainty that some bonds were meant to exist in the days that followed, the story spread across Zephyria and beyond. Scholars debated it. Psychics studied it. Diplomats struggled to explain it. But no analysis could fully capture what had happened in the throne room that day. The alliance between Earth and Zephyria was formalized swiftly, yet the documents were almost ceremonial. Everyone understood the truth. The foundation had already been laid by something far older than politics. Cameron remained on Zephyria longer than planned, serving not just as ambassador, but as a symbol. Wherever he walked with Luna at his side, doors opened. Suspicion faded. Conversation softened. The resonance was no longer a legend. It was living proof. Queen Zerona addressed the Galactic Council weeks later. We believed strength came from fleets and weapons, she said. But humanity has shown us something rarer. The ability to connect without dominance. To protect without conquest. Cameron listened from the chamber floor, humbled. He had not come to Zephyria to change the galaxy. He had come to deliver words on a screen. Yet somehow, he had become part of something far larger. Luna continued to visit him often, asking endless questions about Earth. About rainstorms and forests. About dogs and mountains. Cameron answered them all, realizing that through her curiosity, an entire species was beginning to understand humanity not as outsiders, but as kin. When his assignment finally ended, Cameron knelt before Luna one last time. I'll visit, he promised. She smiled, unafraid of distance. "I'll see you," she said simply. "In my dreams." As Cameron departed the palace, he understood a truth no training manual had ever taught him. Humanity's place among the stars would not be earned through fear or force. It would be built through relationships, through patience, and through the willingness to be seen.